So now I hand over to our moderator, Ms. Mary. She is the program manager with TCS Ion content team, and she works with various professors and experts across the country. Mary majorly focuses on programs related to subject matter experts, outreach, and relationship management. I invite Ms. Mary to start the conversation on theoretical perspective of open book examination. Over to you, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Naresh. A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of TCS Ion, I welcome you all to the webinar. Let us talk a little about open book examinations. Though open book examinations have been around for a long time, their use in high-stake examinations has been very limited and minimal. In the current environment where assessments cannot be moderated in the traditional manner, does open book examination offer hope for allowing the implementation of a credible assessment program? How should one design question papers for open book examination? What are the resources that students should be allowed to use or not use? That is, books, references, internet searches, etc. To discuss the theoretical perspective of an open book examination, we have with us two distinguished guests today. They will share their insights into how they see assessments being conducted in the future. It's my pleasure and an honor to welcome and introduce our guest speakers. First, I would like to welcome Dr. V.P. Srivastava. Dr. V.P. Srivastava is a former professor of physics from NCERT. He did his MSc and PhD from Banaras Hindu University and has studied physics at the University of Zambia, Lusaka, Zambia, the University of Jodhpur, and the Regional Institute of Education, NCERT, Ajmer. Dr. Srivastava was also a visiting scientist at the International Center for Theoretical Physics, that is ICT, from Trieste, Italy. He presented papers at national and international conferences held in India and abroad in the field of physics and physics education. He was a member of syllabus committees of science and physics in NCERT and is a co-author of NCERT textbooks of science at upper primary stage and physics at the senior secondary. In his long career, Dr. Srivastava has provided consultancy in curriculum development, assessment and teacher training to CBSE, ICSE, NIOS, KVS, NBS, government education organizations of the states of Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, MP, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Manipur, Nagaland, Jammu and Kashmir, and Uttarakhand. He has made long and short professional visits to Germany, Italy, France, Holland, Zambia, Egypt, Indonesia, and South Africa. He has also been associated with TCS for the last 7 years as a subject matter expert in physics. We welcome you. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Nidhi Bhatnagar. Dr. Nidhi Bhatnagar is a committed assistant professor in the Department of Humanities with over 12 years of experience at Government Engineering College, Jhalawar, Rajasthan, teaching students from various social and cultural backgrounds. She cherishes teaching to the students from rural backgrounds who, despite less exposure, they excel in their fields and place themselves in organizations of privilege. She always puts her best effort to create constructive and effective teaching methods to promote stimulating learning environments. Her area of interest are feminist literature, business communication, and human values. Currently, she is teaching BTech and MBA students business communication and human values. She is also coordinating on Equity Action Plan under TEQIP, a project under NHRD, and handling student induction program for newly admitted students. Dr. Nidhi Bhatnagar earned her PhD in English literature in the year of 2007 from Durbar College, Bikaner, and MBS University, Ajmer. Earlier, she completed her graduation and post-graduation from Maharishi Sudarshan College, Bikaner, which comes under MBS University, Ajmer. She has presented and published research papers in various national and international journals. She has been appointed as a paper setter and examiner by various universities. She has participated in various faculty development programs organized by AICTE, IITs, etc. She stood second in the college at her post-graduation level and participated in various national and international conferences. She has also organized some workshops for students in Government Engineering College, Jhalawar. We welcome her. We have two quite distinguished guests with us, so I would like to ask both of them to share their initial views on what is an open book exam and how is it different from conventional exam format. We would like to start with you, Dr. Srivastava.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this seminar. As the name implies, the open book examination allows students to bring different types of resource material to the examination hall, while the conventional one does not allow it.
Thank you, Dr.
Hello.
Srivastava. Dr. Nidhi Bhatnagar, can you elaborate on your views on the question?
Yeah. Good morning to all of you. I'm very privileged to be invited here for this discussion on open book examination. Now, as the open book examination, it is also an assessment. But there is a difference in conventional or a closed book examination. In open book, we can provide, or the students can take the books with them, or some aids or teaching aids which the instructors or universities have been given order to use them. So open book examination is an assessment to give away this conventional type of examination, and it is the examination in which the problem solving or the critical thinking of student comes out. So in my opinion, that this open book examination is more it's a more way to see how the student has grabbed the concepts of that particular topic. So open book examination and closed book exam, there are distinct features, there are distinct differences. Like, first of all, in closed book examination, the students are using their static memory, while in this open book examination, the students are using their dynamic memory, means how the memory which is stored in their mind, they are using that memory in the examination, in fulfilling the answering the questions what has been asked in the paper. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. You mentioned something about critical thinking and having to get information from the rote memory. That brings me to the first question. Ma'am, could you also discuss a little with us, why do we actually need open book examination?
See, the need of the open book examination is because right now, what we are facing, we are going through the pandemic COVID-19. And before this pandemic, there are some universities in India also that they are using this open book examination. But now it is the right time to use this strategy of open book examination. And this open book is, and the question what you have asked me, what is the need? The need is that, ma'am, now in this era of digitalization, we need the students who are more updated and skilled. Whatever they have learned at the school level or at the college level, they have to apply that thing they are working, because they have to figure out the things. They don't have to write down the book. When we are using the closed type of examination, we are just penning down the formulas or what is written in the book. Means what, for example, the students are preferring some book of particular author. What the author has written in the book, they are penning down the same thing on their question, also on their answer sheet. So what is the use? Means they are preparing another type of the book. If we gather all the answer sheets, a book is being prepared. So what is the use of that? So it means that the student should know how to apply or imply that thing what he or she has read in the book. For that, open book examinations are best suited type of examination, and mostly for example, I have been gone through in the competitions now, like JEE competitions or NEET competitions, and one more examination is there, ISER. ISER, that is Indian examination of science, like that. So in that examination, I have seen the difference. Means this is my own experience. I have seen the difference in NEET and JEE. They are the paper setters are using multiple choice questions, and one answer is correct. So students will apply their knowledge or apply what is in their memory, and they will give the answer. But in that type of examination, there are all case studies. Even the class 12 student, they have to read this case studies, and then they have to give the answer. There is no one answer. They have to write their own answer. So when they are writing their own answer, that makes the difference. They are applying their mind, they are applying their critical thinking, and they are solving that problem at the moment. So I think that this type of strategy, if the government will use in evaluating the student, there will be more number of skilled students will come in the organization and will serve the nation. That is my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. You mentioned something on how a person in a closed book examination is just penning down the thoughts of an author instead of framing their own opinion. So that is very interesting. That brings me to my next question to you, Dr. Shrivastava.
Yes.
Do you think there is a bad side or a negative point to open book examinations as well?
There is one negative aspect. I should not say negative aspect, but there is a negative aspect because open book, the conventional examination, there is a built-in knowledge-based questions are there in every examination, whether it is a school-based examination, board examination, or university examination, undergraduate and postgraduate examinations. You find that a certain percentage of questions are based on knowledge. While by definition, the open book examination, you cannot have any knowledge-based questions. So to begin with, this is a disadvantage for below average students. For average students and above average students who rely on application, who can score on application-based questions or critical analysis-based questions or synthesis-based questions, they can carry on. But for students with below average abilities, it is a difficult thing who usually pass the conventional examination based on memory-based questions. So that is a challenge for below average students, and we have to, of course, train them to come out of this problem.
Thank you so much, sir. So we need to work more on creating the teaching system in such a way that even below average students can score well in open book examination.
Yes.
That's interesting. Dr. Bhatnagar, my next question is to you. You mentioned something about this in the first response you told us. Do you think open book examinations risk discouraging memory-based learning, as it is one of the basic blocks of learning? Like, we have the alphabets that we memorize. We memorize the alphabets. From that, every child learns how to spell a word or how to talk a word or pronounce a word. In this case, if you are discouraging memory-based questions, what is going to be the effect of?
Ma'am, yes. Now, this is a very good question because we have not switched over to this open book. We are following this closed book examination. So I would like to say that open book examination not at all discourages the memory-based learning. Okay. Now, if I talk about right from the Gurukul studies, what is doing it? There is a teaching learning by doing. Means learning by doing methodology is being practiced in that Gurukul environment. But now that they have to be they have to keep the things in their memory. At that time, when the teacher is teaching, it is learning by doing, and they have to keep the things in the memory, and when they have to do it in a practical way, they have to use that memory also. So eventually what we saw, so after some time, there is the rote learning. Every student is doing the memorization and the rote learning, and they give the examination, write the examination, they get the percentage and they get the degrees, and they are they go for the job. And after that, when they enter in the job, what happened? Sometimes some of the students are not able to cope up at that environment only because of their memorization and the rote learning. And those who have understand the concept, they can excel. They are able to excel. Now, open book examination is that here there is, in this strategy, it tends to eliminate that stage, that is the memorization, because the questions what are being framed like this, that they have to give the answers by correlating the things. And how can they correlate the thing? Until because they have understand the concept. For example, I have the questions, some examples in my mind, like in physics, because Srivastava sir is in physics. So I remember, because I'm also a science student, that sometimes some questions are framed like that. So many topics are related, means intermixed, and we have to we have to learn, or we have to think about that topic, means to create the formulas. And at that time, memorization is must. So I don't think that this OB, or means open book exam, is discouraging the memorization. Means we have to keep the things in our mind. It doesn't mean that we have the open books and we have to copyright down from the open books, and again means that open book is the book open for you. At that time, what we have to do, we have to memorize the thing, that where is the topic, on which page is on the topic. If we don't keep in our mind, then how will we open that page, and how will we see the matter at that time? So open book examination, memory is different thing and knowledge is different thing. So memory, if we don't keep the things in the memory, how can our knowledge be updated? So as I've said in my earlier question, that there are two types of memory, static and as well as dynamic. So static memory is that sometimes what you write down in your paper, what is written in the book, and you have in your memory. And dynamic memory, that is the memory which is long lasting. It will keep in your mind. You have to keep in your mind to develop the skills, as well as to be excel in your job or the workplace, because you have to do, after getting all the degrees, you have to do the work practically. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think memory is an important part of the education system still. But memory here has to be for the concept and the logic, and not the complete answers as such. We say that they wrote it out and write it on a piece of paper. This is one of the major questions that I'm sure that a lot of faculty and even children, for that matter, in the house, when we see, we just randomly open the book and jot down the whole 4 paragraphs into a piece of paper. So that's thank you for your views on that. The next question is for Dr. Srivastava. How would different ability students, that is, average and below average and above average students, perform in an open book examination?
As I said, the open book examinations, we design questions which test higher order skills. Now, if you look at the group of students in a class, then there are different types of ability group students are there. So of course, below average students suffer by the nature of open book examination. So we have to bring them at par with others. We have to train them, these students, how to solve application-based question or understanding-based questions, or how to solve question based on unknown context. So we have to begin with, there is a disadvantage to below average students, but the whole open book examination encourages application-based questions, and we can bring such students at par with other students. So you have to change your method of teaching at a school level, even the method of assessment at a school level. Conventional examination system, we also have to work with these things.
Okay. So we would have to have a mix
Thank
of
you.
both conventional and open book examination. And we have to change the methods is what you're saying. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
very
yes,
much,
yes.
Dr. Srivastava. Dr. Bhatnagar, one interesting question that usually comes us is open book examination that is being conducted online different from offline open book examination? What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, these are the online and offline are the two modes of conducting examination. And online, as you know, it is the computer mediated exam where students are, when students are at the remote place, they can give the online exams and with the help of laptop, smartphone, etc. And while if we talk about these two type of examination, generally it comes that technically there are two type of things which are conducted in online and offline mode. That is restricted type and unrestricted type. So what is restricted? Restricted type means you have to take only those notebooks or teaching or the study materials which has been authorized by the university or board or the instructors. So and beyond that, any type of book is to be carried by the student. And in unrestricted type of this examination or exam, the students are free to access any type of books. So it is both in online mode as well as in offline mode. So, and the question you have asked me, what is the difference between online and offline mode of examination in OB open book exam? Now, I would like to say that in online mode, it is very challenging for a teacher to evaluate the students and to check them on, to monitor them. In offline, it can be monitored. The students can be monitored as well as checked whether they are doing cheating or something else. They can be checked it, and the evaluation process is also very easy for the teachers. But in online mode, the checking is so much. It is a very challenging. The students can cheat the something. They can open the websites and see the matter from there. And this is the most challenging part for a teacher, that how to evaluate the students, because the students who are very good, they are writing the exams by their own knowledge, by their own memory. But the students who are below average, or they know about the computer's application, how to do the cheating and how to open the websites on another phone. And also right now all the students are doing this. Even the small kids are also doing know how to cheat the answers from other elsewhere source. So in that case, it is very challenging. And as a teacher, I have researched over there. I have talked to some computer teachers how to catch those students. So they tell me that like their browser, in your phone there is a browser history. When you conduct an examination, there is a software. You have a test history. Who has opened that websites and who has opened the website which is beyond the instruction. So at that time, the students can be catch up, and they can be traced out or trapped out that they have cheated. And at that time, the teachers can evaluate. The teachers can evaluate that the marks should be deducted for the particular teacher particular student who have been using the different source. So I think this is the difference between online and offline mode of open book examination. And it is a challenging part for a teacher also. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that only sounds very challenging for a teacher to monitor and proctor an open book examination rather than the one
Yes.
that's conducted. Thank you so much, Dr. Bhatnagar, for your very honest opinion on the question. Dr. Shrivastava,
Thank you so much.
for faculties who will be conducting their first ever open book examination, what do you think? Do we need to have a mock test conducted for these examinations? Is rolled out on a wide scale for the college or
Yeah, I take the question. Yeah, so I take the question. Most of the teachers we find in the system are not familiar with open book examination. Only during this pandemic, they started to getting knowledge about and experience about open book examination. So we have to move slowly and slowly. So the first requirement is that we have to empower the system and different agents of the system, like teachers. We have to empower the teachers. We have also to empower the management, like principals and other examination authorities, like controller of examination in boards. Many of these people are not familiar with open book examination system. So we have to empower, and we have to empower the people who design such questions, who design such problems. For example, in physics, we design such questions where the answer are not available on the website, any website. So there is no question of copying. Even if you search for hours, the answers are not available. It's an innovative question. It's entirely new questions. So you have to train your teachers how to design such questions. You have to train also your students also, because we cannot be unfair to students. Students are not familiar with open book examination. Slowly and slowly they are getting familiar with. So we have to train all the stakeholders of the system. Even with parents, we have to train their parents or familiarize the parents also. Because if somebody is taking open book examination from home and Wi-Fi is not available, even a smartphone is not available, that is what we are experiencing nowadays. So we have to familiarize our parents also, we have to familiarize the society at large also, how to be friendly with open book examination, how to be conducive to open book examination. That is a very important task in the whole system. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shrivastava. I think yes, there is definitely a need for a mock test because, as you mentioned, that it's a new concept for the entire society, right from parents, teachers, the students, moderators, everyone. So it would be a good idea to have that. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhatnagar.
Yes.
That we need to revise our teacher training as well. What is on? How do we? What is the need for changing the teacher training curriculum to help teachers practice such new methods?
Yes, ma'am. It is absolutely required that teacher training curriculum should be revised, because this examination because examination is being conducted by the teachers, or by the paper setters are the teachers. So we have to revise the curriculum. Like in I have also done the B.Ed. B.Ed is the teachers training. So it is for 2 years. Generally, before it is 1 year, now it is 2 years. We have to make the lecture plans and all that for the students. Means how to teach the students, how to teach the average students or the below average. Means you have to take the class as a one, as a equal. So now the things are changed. So what we have to do, generally don't have to paraphrase. Ma'am, the teachers don't have to simply paraphrase or simply read the chapter and say and give the direct questions. What the teachers have to do, teachers have to prepare a quiz lecture plan according to the open book examination, because in open book examination, the questions are being asked as a high order thinking question. So keeping in mind of that high order thinking question, they have to prepare the lecture plan. And for this lecture plan, they have to prepare the quizzes or the mock test, and so that the students are well prepared for their end term examination for giving their end term in the open book examination mode. So I think that government should take initiative to revise this teacher training curriculum at the school level, and the training should be organized by the government from time to time. Means before the session starts, the training should be organized by the government or by some organizations for the teachers, so that they can give their lectures, or they give their lectures in the class in a very well or a prepared mode for open book examination for the students. And it is also, ma'am, true that it is a very challenging part, as well as they have to effort more for this. The teacher has to be more curious. The teacher should have more curious rather than the students. Students are also curious, but teachers should be more curious about the topic which she is taking on that day. First, she has to prepare what is the meaning of that chapter. Then she should prepare the quiz for that chapter, and then she should prepare some subjective questions. So time to time she has to prepare the students for developing the skills in the students, so that they can do very well in open book examination without any fear or without any apprehension. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Diti. I think this is more of a homework for teachers now going forward, because they have to keep themselves updated on how they have to find new ways to teach the students. So I guess now students and teachers both are going to be on the tip of their toe, walking around learning. Looks like we've covered all our questions. Thank you, Dr. Srivastava, and thank you, Dr. Nidhi, for taking out your time and sharing your opinions on open book examination with us. I'm sure since the time this new term was coined around in our education industry and sector, a lot of questions for people like teachers, students, parents on these things were there. I'm sure it would have been helpful for all the audience members who have joined us today to hear this session. Thank you, everyone, and have a very, very good day going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mary. Thank you, dear speakers and participants, for an engaging webinar. We wish you a great success in your endeavors. With that, I, Naresh Pal, sign off. Once again, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.